Well, because they gave me these interesting little ideas about what they're going to be talking about, I will reiterate what they're telling me on these sheets of paper. Jeff is doing speech number 3 from the Competent Communicator Manual, How to Buy a House at an Auction. This is an informative speech about buying a house at auction. The listener should understand the research he or she needs to do prior to considering the purchase of a house at auction. What to do to actually purchase it at the auction is the substance of Jeff's speech. We'll welcome Jeff when it's right now. You had that look of a deer with his.
I didn't know if you were going to read the second one first or not.
No, I'll introduce the link when you're done.
Okay.
Okay?
I brought this because last time I had cotton out so bad I couldn't talk anymore. Fellow Toastmasters, did you know that you can go down to Chelan County Courthouse or Douglas County Courthouse on a Friday at 10 a.m. every Friday and buy a house at auction if you feel that it's priced right? It happens every week, and most of us don't even know that. I hope, usually when I tell people this, they're like, really, can anybody do it? The next question is, how do you do it? My intention tonight is to give enough information so that you will understand how to buy a house at auction. First thing you need to know is what houses are at auction and how do you find out what they are. There are numerous websites. The best one is known as Realty Track. It costs you about $300 a year, and they list all of the properties that are going to be at auction. They give you information on them, the size of the lot, the bedrooms, the baths, the square footage. Sometimes you'll get a little bit of title information, but not normally. Another one is called USA Foreclosure. That's a free site, and it has maybe half the houses that are going up for auction, so you miss out on a lot of them. I wouldn't recommend that one, but at least it gives you an idea to search around for what might be coming up. Another way to find them is to look in the paper. Notice of defaults in the newspaper will always inform you of what's going up for auction, and then they have to put them in there so many times. I think it's 3 times before they auction them off, but I'm not sure. So to keep track of those, and that'll tell you the date and how much it's going for, because you need to know the price of it. The other place to find them is a company called, and they actually do the auctions, A to Z Legal Support Systems out of Moses Lake. They're the ones that come to the courthouse, they have the paperwork, they auction it off, they qualify the buyers. You can call them on a Thursday afternoon and you can find out what's going up for auction, and sometimes they'll have the minimum bid because you need to know that, other times they won't, and you won't know it until Friday morning. But at least you know which properties are going up so you can go out and look at them. And that's the first thing you want to do. Go look at the property you're interested in buying, figure out how much is it worth, how much should I pay for this property, and how do you figure that out. The best source for knowing what a house is worth if it's fixed up in normal condition is your realtor. The realtors have sourced the MLS. The MLS gives them a lot of title information. It tells you all the square footage. So they can print comparable sales and houses that are for sale that will give you an idea of the value. So that's your best source. Make friends with a realtor, and they can do most of the background for you. After you do this for a while, you get a feel for it yourself, what properties are worth. I did a lot of them in Seattle. I haven't done many here, and the prices between Seattle and here are enormously different. If you went on those values over there, over here, you'd lose your butt. So that is the best way to find out the value. The next thing you need to know is, what's it going to cost to fix it up? What kind of condition is it in? So you go to the property, You look and see if it's occupied. You can't always tell, but often there will be a notice on the door, and it's very clear that there's nobody living there. There's no curtains. There's trash laying around the yard, so on and so forth. So you walk the property, you look at it, observe everything. You look at the siding and the windows and the roof and the concrete, and you take as many mental notes as you can as what needs fixing, and an idea, if you know what those costs are, what it's going to cost you to fix those things. If it looks like it's occupied, you can always go knock on the door. It might be a renter, it might be the owner, and they know that it's going to auction. They know that it's getting foreclosed on. And they either won't answer, they'll tell you to go away, or they'll let you in to take a look at the property, because you can offer them what we call cash for keys. You tell them you're going to bid on it at auction, and if they leave it in nice condition after it's purchased, and give them 2 weeks or so on, that you'll give them $1,000 or $1,200 for the keys when you leave, so that you aren't getting a house that's completely trashed. I've gotten houses in the past that had all the copper piping ripped out, had all the wiring ripped out of it, holes punched in, cabinets ripped out, floors. They can really do some serious damage to a house. So once you've figured those things out, you need to decide whether or not you're going to rent this or sell this house. If you're going to sell this house, you need to add about 8% of the sales price to your figures when you're figuring out the amount that you can pay for it. 5% of that's for realtors, 1.78% of that is for excise tax, and the rest is title, escrow fees, prorated taxes, and miscellaneous things like that. You get all those numbers, and so now you've got what it's worth. You know what it costs to fix up. You've got to figure out what you're going to pay for it, and if you're going to sell it or not. That determines the number that you are willing to bid. So, for example, I went to auction Friday, and I didn't know the minimum bid until Friday morning at 8:45. Found out it was about a $200,000 house, and the minimum bid was $112,000. So I raced over to the bank, got the cashier's check, got the guy to do 4 cashier's checks. Because if no one else is at auction, and you can get it for $1 over, so I was, you get it for $112,001. So I had 1 cashier's check out made for that, and then I was willing to go to 121, so I got 1 for 5, 1 for 3, 1 for 1, and he got them all done, and I had 35 minutes to get to Waterville, and he goes, he did something wrong, and he had to redo all the cashier's checks. I got to Waterville 6 minutes late, and there was one other person sitting there who got it for $1 over.
Oh, no.
Which really sucked. The other thing you need to make sure you learn about a property is, I would never recommend buying a property without getting a title. And the title will tell you what liens are there. The ones you're most concerned with are liens for IRS liens. You don't want to deal with it. But if there's a second mortgage and things like that, they will fall off. Judgments, they'll fall off. So you don't have to worry about those things getting paid. Water and taxes are the main things that you have to pay. So in summary, if you're going to go to auction to buy a home, make sure you know what it's worth, how much you're going to have to spend to do it, if there's any liens, and then go to the bank, try to get the minimum bid as early as you can, and go for it. Good luck.